वासुदेव। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्यं नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयम् उदीरयेत्। नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवती उत्तम श्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी। हरे कृष्णा, दंडवत प्रणाम। Srimad Bhagwatam, Canto 11, Chapter 23, the Song of the Avanti Brahmana. Now we continuing from Shloka number 22 to 41. Deva Rushi Pitru Bhutani Jnatin Bandhuncha Bhagina Asamvibhajya cha Atmanam Yakshavitta Patati Adaha Verthaya Ihaya व्यर्थया अर्थ इहया वित्तं प्रमत्तस्य वयः बलं कुशलः एन सिद्धन्ति जरट किं नु साधय। कस्मात् संक्लिश्यते विद्वान् व्यर्थया अर्थ इहया सकृत कस्यचित् मायया नूनं लोकयं सुविमोहित किं धने धनदै वा किं कामे हि वा काम काम देहि उत मृत्युना ग्रस्यमाणस्य कर्मभिः वा उत जन्म देहि। नो नमे भगवान तुष्टः सर्वदेव मय हरि एन नित दशाम एताम निर्वेद च आत्मन प्लवः सह अहम काल अवशेषेण शोषयिष्ये अंगम आत्मन अप्रमत अखिल स्व अर्थे यदि स्यात् सिद्ध आत्मनि। तत्र माम अनुमोदेरन् देवा त्रिभुवन ईश्वरः मुहूर्तेन ब्रह्मलोक खट्वांग समसादयत्। श्री भगवान उवाच इति अभिप्रेत्य मनसा हि अवन्त्यः द्विजसत्तमः उन्मुच्य हृदय ग्रंथि शान्तः भिक्षु अभूत् मुनिः। सचाचार महिम एताम संयता आत्म इंद्रिय अनिल भिक्षा अर्थम नगर ग्रामान असंग अलक्षित अविशत तम वै प्रवयसम भिक्षुम अवधूतम असज्जनाः दृष्ट्वा परिभवन भद्र बहविभिः परिभूतिभिः। और ट्रांसलेशन एंड परपट by the श्रीला प्रभुपाद जगत गुरु श्रीला प्रभुपाद की जय। बाप रे तुम्हारी कृष्ण दिखेंगे मना।
केचित्त्रिवेणुं जगृहुः एके पात्रं कमण्डलुं पीठं च एकक्षसूत्रं च कण्ठां चीराणि केचन प्रदाय च पुनः तानि
दर्शितानि आददुः मुनेः अन्नं च भिक्ष संपन्नं भुञ्जानस्य सरित्तटे मुत्रेति च पापिष्टा अष्टिवन्ति अस्य च मूर्धनि। यत् वाचं वाचयन्ति ताडयन्ति न भक्ति चेत् तर्जयन्ति अपरे वाग्भिस्तेन अयमिति वादिनः भग्नन्ति रज्वातं केचित् बध्यताम् इति क्षिपन्ति एक अवजानन्तः एष धर्मध्वज षटः क्षीणवित्त इमां वृत्तिम् अग्रहित स्वजन उज्जितः अहो एष महासारः धृतिमान् गिरिराट इव मौनेन साधयति अर्थं भक्वदृढ निश्चय। इति एके व्यसन्ति एनम एके दुर्वातयन्ति च तं बबन्धुः निरिरुधुः यथा क्रीडनकं द्विजम् एवं स भौतिकं दुःखं दैविकं दैहिकं च यत् भोक्तव्यम् आत्मनः दिष्टं प्राप्तम् अबुध्यत् परिभूत इमां गाथाम् अगायत् नराधमे पातयद्भि स्वधर्मस्थ धृतिम आस्थाय सात्विकीम. ट्रांसलेशन एंड पर्पट बाय द श्रीला प्रभुपाद. जगत गुरु श्रीला प्रभुपाद की जय. One who fails to distribute his wealth to the proper shareholder, the demigod sages, forefathers, and ordinary living entities, as well as his immediate relatives, in-laws, and own self, is maintaining his wealth simply like a yaksha and will fall down. Discriminating. What happened? Discriminating persons are able to utilize their money, youth, and strength to achieve perfection. But I have feverishly squandered this in the useless endeavor for further wealth. Now that I am an old man, what can I achieve? Why must an intelligent man suffer by his constant pain efforts to get wealth? Indeed, this whole world is most bewildered by someone's illusory potency. For one who is in the grips of death, what is the use of wealth or those who offer it? Since gratification of those who offer it, or for that matter, any type of futile activity, which simply causes one to again take birth in the material world. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Hari, who contains within himself all the demigods, must be satisfied with me. Indeed, he has brought me to this suffering condition and forced me to experience detachment, which is the boat to carry me over this ocean of material life. If there is any time remaining in my life, I will perform austerities and force my body to subsist on the bare necessities. Without further confusion, I shall pursue that which constitutes me, constitute my entire self-interest in life, and I shall remain satisfied with the self. Thus, may the presiding demigods of these three worlds kindly show their mercy upon me. Indeed, Maharaj Khatwanga was able to achieve the spiritual world in a single moment. Lord Sri Krishna continued. His mind thus determined that most excellent Avanti Brahmana was able to untie the knots of desire within his heart. He then assumed the role of a peaceful and silent sannyasi mendicant. He wandered about the earth, keeping his intelligent senses and life air under control. To make charity, he traveled alone to various cities and villages. He did not advertise his advanced spiritual position and thus was not recognized by others. O kind Uddhava, seeing him as an old dirty beggar, rowdy persons would dishonor him with many insults. Some of these persons would take away his sannyasi rod and some the water pot which he was using as a begging bowl. Some took his deerskin seat, some his chanting beads, and some would steal his torn, ragged clothing. Displaying these things before him, they would pretend to offer them back, but would then hide them again. When he was sitting on the bank of a river, about to partake of the food and he had collected by his begging, such sinful rascal would come and pass urine on it, and they would dare to spit on his head. Although he had taken a bowl of silence, he would try to make him speak, and if he did not speak, they would beat him with sticks. Others would chastise him, saying, "This man is just a thief," and others would bind him up with rope, shouting, tie him up, tie him up. They would criticize the insults him, saying, this man is just a hypocrite and a cheat. He makes a business of religious simply because he lost all his wealth and his family threw him out. Some would ridicule him by saying, just see, this greatly powerful sage, he is as steadfast as the Himalayan mountain. By practice of silence, he strives for his goal with great determination, just like a dove. Others persons would pass foul air upon him, and sometimes others would bind this twice-born Brahmana in chains and keep him captive like a pet animal. The Brahmana understands that all his suffering from other living being, from the higher force of nature, and from his own body was unavoidable, being allotted to him by providence. Even while being insulted by these low class men who were trying to effect his downfall, he remained steady in his spiritual duties. Fixing his resolution in the mode of goodness, he began to chant the following song, purport by the Srila Prabhupada, Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai. One who does not share his wealth with the above mentioned authorized person and does not even enjoy the wealth himself will certainly suffer unlimited problems in life. The Brahmana could understand that the demigods who award different types of sense gratification as a result of one's spiritual activities cannot bestow the highest benefit in life. When the Brahmana lost his property, he could understand that the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who comprises all the demigods, had given him the highest perfection, not by awarding sense gratification, but by saving him from the ocean of material enjoyment. Being thus deprived of the opportunity to cultivate religiosity, well, sense gratification and liberation, the Brahmana became detached and transcendental knowledge awakened within his heart. The Brahmana of Avanti thought that although he was an old man who might die at any moment, he could follow the example of Maharaj Katvanga, who achieved the Lord's mercy in a single moment. Maharaj Katvanga, as described in the second canto of Srimad Bhagwatam, fought valiantly on behalf of the demigods, and they offered the king any benediction he might desire. Katvanga Maharaj chose to find out the remaining duration of his life, which unfortunately was a single moment. The king therefore immediately surrendered to Lord Krishna and achieved the spiritual world. The Brahmana of Avanti desired to follow this example with the blessings of the demigods, who are all devotees of the Lord. He hoped to become fully Krishna conscious before giving up his body. According to Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, the acceptance of the Tridandi Sannyasa order of life is the chief indication that one has actually taken shelter of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The three rods of the Danda or staff of the Vaishnava Sannyasi indicate control of the body, mind, and words by the engaging them only in the loving service of the Lord. This procedure helps one to become more tolerant than a tree, as recommended by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. By strict control of one's body, mind, and speech, the quality of tolerance becomes strengthened, and thus one manifests the further qualities of forgiving others, never wasting one's time, detachment from sense gratification, lack of false pride in one's work, and not anchoring for liberation. One in this way gives up the mentality of a realistic person who establish so-called affectionate relationships of mutual flattery and exploit each other for sense gratification. One who adopts the strict path of Krishna consciousness, following in the footsteps of great souls, can achieve the shelter of the Lord. Many cruel person harassed the Brahmana, and his own body caused him suffering in the form of fever, hunger, thirst, fatigue, etc. The higher forces of nature are those that cause excessive heat, cold, wind, and rain. The Brahmana realized that His suffering was due to his false identification with his material body and not to the interaction of his body with external phenomena. Rather than try to adjust his external situation, he tried to adjust his Krishna consciousness and thus realize his actual identity as eternal spirit soul. Resolution in the mode of goodness is described in Bhagavad Gita 18.33. Dhrutyaya dharyate mana pranendriya kriyaha yogena avyavicharinya dhruti sa partha satviki. O son of Pruta, that determination which is unbreakable, which is sustained with steadfastness by yoga practice and thus control the mind, life and the acts of the senses, is in the mode of goodness. Atheists who are envious of the devotees of the Supreme Lord are called Naradhamas, or the lowest of men, and undoubtedly are en route to hell. By all means, at their disposal, the devotional service of the Lord, sometimes by direct attack and sometimes by mockery. The devotees, however, remain tolerant, fixing their determination in the mode of goodness, as described by Srila Rupa Goswami in Upadeshamrut. Vacho vegam mansa krodha vegam jiva vegam udropastha vegam etan vegan yah vishayeta dhira sarvam imam prithvim sa shishyat. A sober person who can tolerate the urges to speak, the mind's demand, the actions of anger, and the urges of the tongue, belly, and genitals is qualified to make disciples all over the world. Thus end the purport. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Ena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namah Sri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Ena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Sri Guroho Sri Yuttapadakamalam Sri Gurun Vaishnavancha Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagar रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्ण चैतन्य देवं श्री राधा कृष्ण पादान् सगण ललिता श्री विशाखान्वितांच नमो ओम विष्णुपदाय कृष्ण प्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात देशतारिणे वाञ्छा कल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा दंडवत प्रणाम. Today we continuing Srimad Bhagwatam Canto 11 chapter 23, the song of the Avanti Brahmana. How when he adopting the Avdutta form and he wondering for his begging, and how the rowdy persons disturb him, those describing in this shlokas, but he never bewildered and he doing his sadhana with determination, that he achieve his main aim. Like that we also determine in our sadhana, and that time we also achieve our main aim to go back home, back to Godhead. Prabhuji will tell you in detail. Hare Krishna Dandavat Pranam. Vancha kalpatarubhe cha कृपा सिंधुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः. जय श्री कृष्ण. हरे कृष्ण.
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much, Maharaj. So here, Avantika Brahmana continues and explains that we should be able to distribute our wealth to proper shareholders. So who are the proper shareholders? That is what we need to understand from this shloka now. The demigods, sages, forefathers, ordinary living entities, immediate relatives, in-laws, and self. So 7. Now, these seven are the people who should be having the what I will say share on your wealth. And the Goswamis, Rupa Goswami, Sanatan Goswami, they explained it further what should be the basis on which this sharing should be done amongst them. So what they have said is that 50% should go towards bhakti, 25% to the relatives, and 25% for self. So that is how the distribution has to happen. So when we say demigods, sages, forefathers, ordinary living entities, this is all for improvement of the bhakti or the devotional service. So 50% of the wealth should be distributed amongst them, and 25% amongst relatives and in-laws, and 25% should be kept for self. So all those who are able to utilize their money, youth, and strength appropriately like this can achieve perfection. Now, Avanti Brahmana was already old and he had squandered this opportunity. So what can he achieve? Because ideally, why should an intelligent person suffer because of constant endeavor to get wealth? And that is what we find. There's a rat race which is going on. I want to be VP, I want to be senior VP, I want to be CXO, I want to be business united, I want to have power. Why? Because with that they expect wealth will come. But that wealth, if not associated with spiritual health, is useless. The whole world is bewildered by illusory potency because everyone is in the grips of death. So, what is the use of wealth or those who offer it? What is the use of sense gratification or those who offer it? Or, in fact, what is the use of any fruitive activity which simply makes us take birth again in the material world? Even Krishna was seeing everything. Now, Krishna, he himself, he is the source of everything. So it is important that we please him. The moment Krishna is pleased, the demigods are pleased. And the Brahmana was thinking that he has come to this suffering condition because Krishna wants him to experience detachment. Because only those who are able to have detachment can cross over the Bhavasaga. So whatever time is remaining in our life, ideally we should perform austerities. We should make the body to subsist on bare necessity without having any confusion. We should start pursuing everything which makes our self-interest in life. And we have to remain satisfied within the self. Otherwise, what is the use? And that is why this Ekadashi today. That is why we have to do Nirjala. If not possible Nirjala, then Sajala. If not Sajala, then Sadugdha. If not Sadugdha, then Safala. But we have to give austerities and make the body subsist on bare necessities. Because of this, even the demigods of the three worlds, they will shower the mercy upon us. And we know about Maharaj Khatwanga's story. He fought on the basis, on the side of the demigods. They were pleased. They wanted to give him whatever he wanted. So he asked, what is the balance like? They said one moment. And what did he ask? I want to remember Krishna. And thus he achieved spiritual. That is what we are also planning to do. So even if you have been in the past into demigod worship, it is that worship which has brought you here, because of which you are talking and we are discussing this katha today. So we should ensure that our mind should be determined. We should untie the knots of desire and assume the role of peaceful, silent person. Krishna explains the story of this person further to make us the importance of how providence can make you go through a lot of hell on the earth itself. This Brahmana, he wandered, but he kept his intelligence and life were under control. He used to beg, but he never advertised his advanced spiritual position. People used to see the old dirty beggar, and everyone used to dishonor him. They used to insult him. They used to beat him with sticks. They used to take away his belongings. And then think, oh, I'm giving them back. But then they would again hide there. When he wanted to eat food, just think you're trying to eat food, someone is coming and urinating on it. People are spitting on your head. And this was happening to this Brahmin. And he used to remain silent. No reaction. And nowadays, we immediately react. Why did not my grandchild talk to me? Why did not my grandson talk to me? Why is my son not talking to me but his wife or husband? We immediately get disturbed, full of anxiety. Look at this Brahmana was being harassed in so many ways. He was being called shit. He was being tied up to chains. They used to call him hypocrites. They used to tell because he has lost his wealth and family, he is now talking about religion. But nothing disturbed his determination. The people used to pass foul air on him. Nothing disturbed him. He withstood everything because he understood that this suffering was unavoidable because Niyati had given it. You have seen Adi Bhautik, Adi Daivik, Adhyatmika. We knew all these are coming because of these only. And though he was being insulted by these low class men who wanted that he has a downfall, he remained steady. He remained in the mode of goodness and continued his journey. That is what we also have to do. Irrespective of the situations we are put in, we have to remain steadfast in our service to Krishna so that we are able to successfully overcome this repeated cycle of birth, old age, disease, and death and go back home, back to Godhead successfully. Hare Krishna.